gloves on here because it is cold. It is a cold day in Toronto. So we're gonna get my gloves on and we are gonna begin our walk. We're starting off in the cemetery today. This is called what's the name of the cemetery? I know the name, but I've forgotten it. But it's a cemetery in Midtown Toronto. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our way down to Yonge and St. Clair. This is Yonge Street right here. The cemetery is right on Yonge Street. So this is Yonge Street right here. You're gonna see, we're gonna walk down to Yonge and St. Clair, and from there, we're gonna keep on walking down Yonge. And I'll show you guys what, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of poke bowls are, but that's what we're going to be having for lunch today. So if you haven't had one, you'll see what it looks like probably in about 30 minutes or so. But a poke bowl is like a fusion thing. I think it's just like a made up dish. Maybe I should look it up. But I haven't had one in a long time. So that's what we're going to do for lunch. And because of the fact I'm really just kind of trying to wean myself off of these steaks too, because I've eaten 5 steaks almost every single day in a row, including the one yesterday, and so I know that that's not going to be probably not a good way to go. So I was originally going to go down to today. I was originally going to go down to a place called Live Organic Food Bar, which is on DuPont, I think it is, and did a quick check. They're permanently closed. Turns out they're probably one of the victims of all of this, all these shutdowns that have been going on. But after eating 5 steaks almost consecutively, I thought, I'd go to a good vegan place, reset my system a little bit. And that's the place I thought of. I'll see if I can put the restaurant listing here in the video for you guys too, but not much sense there because the place is already closed down, so you can't actually try it. But that was the original plan for today. All right, so I don't have any other good like vegetarian vegan places that I know of off the top of my head to go to. That was really the only one that I've been to and that I've liked. I really like their food, actually, even though it's no steak, definitely no steak, but if you're looking to get away from eating steaks, that's probably the type of place you want to go to. If you guys got any good suggestions, let me know. Good, like organic, vegan, vegetarian places that I can go to kind of cleanse my system after I go on a steak binge like this. There's a chain of restaurants here in Toronto called Freshii, Frshii, Freshii, but not interested in going to a chain or to that chain today anyways. And their food isn't I've been there a couple of times. Their food's pretty good, but nothing compared to that Live Organic place. And so I was just kind of looking for a couple other places, and I saw that there's a place that does poke bowls. So that's where we're going. That is where we're going on this beautiful walk. Beautiful day. I mean, beautiful days for winter. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't particularly enjoy all of this slush on the roads, but the air is crisp. And as much as people don't like the cold in the winter, it's not really the cold that bothers me so much. It's the lack of sun that really gets to me about winter time, and that's part of the reason why staying in Canada in the winter is it's not a good deal. Again, not because of the cold, but there isn't a whole lot of sun. Like right at the peak, you don't get, in Toronto, you don't get a whole lot of sunlight right when you get like into there's a certain portion of time, I don't know when it is, but like the sun comes up at 9:30 a.m. sometimes, and like 9 a.m., 8:30 to 9:30 a.m., and it sets at around 4:30 p.m. So if you're working, especially if you're working from home, you basically have no chance of getting any kind of sunlight unless you decide to go for, a long walk in the middle of your workday. And so that's the thing about winter that gets to me the most, is the sunlight. Man, when I was in Cartagena, I had nothing but sunlight, and it was amazing. I would just walk around, sit in places and just absorb as much sun as I possibly could. Make sure we don't get hit here. And then when I came back here to Toronto, I went to Buenos Aires, and that was, again, nothing but sun. Hot sun. And the heat, I'm not a big fan of the heat. Like I said, it's not the temperature that bothers me so much, but just the fact that you get sunlight, and it, I don't know, has a pretty big impact on the way you feel. Mostly the sun. That Freshii, yeah, there's a Freshii right here actually. So that restaurant chain I was just talking about, Freshii, is right over there. I'm not gonna go there today. I'm just gonna keep on walking. Keep on walking down. We get ourselves down to Yonge and St. Clair Avenue. So this is Yonge Street here. This used to be before the shutdowns and everything that happened. This used to be a 2-lane street each way at this section here. So it used to be 2 lanes going north, 2 lanes going south. But ever since the traffic on the street died down, they've decided to make it 1 lane each way, and they've put bike lanes in, which I really enjoyed in the summertime, because in the summer, if you're going up or down Yonge Street, you really do need the bike lane. If you do any kind of biking in Toronto, Toronto isn't the best city for when it comes to having cycling lanes and stuff like that. So that I really like. I mean, as a driver I don't like it, but as a cyclist I really like it. Can't have it both ways, I guess. So, wow, it is really chilly out here. I don't know what the temperature is. I'll check it when I get inside the place and order my food. So yeah, this is good. I'm across the street here. Let's make it across the street. Can I make it? Totally not gonna make it, but are these guys really gonna run me over? That's the big question. Probably not. So yeah, this is Yonge and St. Clair. You guys can see. That's what Yonge Street looks like. Up, down that way. Hopefully this camera is doing a better job than my cell phone was. I'm not an expert here at filming, but not an expert when it comes to doing video stuff, but hopefully the camera is going to do all the heavy lifting for me, because that cell phone camera wasn't doing much of the heavy lifting, to be honest. It was just it is what it is. That bagel place I just passed, I really like too. It's come here to get sometimes to get some their smoked meat bagels. Delicious. Bagels are really good. Camera is moving around a lot. I think it's just because of the way I have it set up in the pocket. Let me just see if I can fix it a little bit. Closing that zipper. Hopefully that gets the camera to stop bouncing around so much. Okay, now it's kind of acting kind of funny here. Sorry guys, said I'm kind of new to this camera here, and it's just kind of doing its own thing. It is just kind of doing its own thing. All right, I think we're good. Whew. It is chill A. Hope that equipment holds up in this cold, because it is cold out here. I don't know what these cameras are rated or built for. Not much. I'm not one to read specs and try to figure that stuff out. I'm just going to try it out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll find a workaround for it. This place is not far. Coffee place. Good little place to work, sit and work. Used to be. Alright, just gonna let us through. Used to be. Hopefully still open. Seems like they still are, but I went there a couple of years ago. I haven't been there recently. Okay, we're good. We're good. Thanks.
Beautiful. Yeah. Not a cloud inside.
Not a cloud inside. It is a beautiful day. They are all right. What it must be like to sleep in this weather. Can't imagine. I can't imagine what it must be like to be homeless at a time like this. Just thought of that when I saw this guy sleeping under the bridge there. Some people have it very, very rough. Some people have it very rough. It's always a reminder to be grateful. Be grateful for what you got. Because there are a lot of people that have to sleep in this weather outside. I can't even imagine. Not a cloud in sight. Beautiful. Cold but crisp. Cold, crisp day. Oh, is that guy running me over? No. He is gonna turn left. Freshie down here. Wait, did we pass our place? Because I think it was before this Freshie. It might just end up going to Freshie if that's the case. So I want to make our way down to Yonge and St. I don't want to walk back. So I'll do a quick check here. If I've already passed it and if it's not too far. I don't think I have though. I think it's still down here. To be honest with you guys. I think it is still down over this way. Whew, taking those gloves off. It is not a good feel. Let's see. Oh yeah. Recently reviewed. Let's see. You know what? It's not too far. Where is it? Let's see. It's not too far away, but I did pass it. So I'm going to walk back up. We'll walk back up a couple of streets and then we'll come back down. I wasn't paying attention. I was just enjoying the beautiful blue sky so much that I actually passed the place that I wanted to eat at. Actually, is it? Oh wow, it's way past, it's before Boxcar Social. Alright, let's go. It's not that far. Can't believe I passed it. Yeah, this is actually on the other side of that bridge, so it's actually not that close, but I'm sure you guys won't mind the extra walk. Maybe we'll do Yonge and St another day. We'll walk back up this way and grab a meal. See how we feel about it. If the sun's still shining down on us like this, it's worth it. It's worth it to do a walk down. Yesterday was very gloomy and cloudy. Was not a good day. So totally welcome the sun. Totally welcome that sun to be out. And this is actually a really nice area in the summertime. This building over here, you guys might not think of it as such, but that's right there is a liquor store. Here's what the liquor stores in Canada look like, guys. This big building right here, but that is it's called the LCBO. So LCBO stands for the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, and they are the only ones that are licensed to sell. They're basically the only game in town when it comes to liquor stores. So, and I think that is the flagship store of the LCBO. Maybe we'll go in there one day. That is the flagship store of the LCBO. Looks a lot more like a shopping mall in there than it does a liquor store, but that's what I guess what you get with the flagship store. Flagship meaning like it's their biggest, most like prestigious store. We're walking back up to St. Clair to get to that place, to get to our poke bowl place. Yeah, I was gonna say it's north of Boxcar Social. Boxcar is this place right here. It's like a coffee shop in the daytime, bar in the nighttime. It's pretty good. Been there a couple of times. This 36 Knots place I've never been to. I don't know what this is all about, but it looks like it's a coffee shop too. I'm gonna have to get back out. Been locked up for the last 2 years. So many new places in this neighborhood I haven't seen. So many places impact. Like I've never seen this. What is this? Breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner? Am I gonna have to come here? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I'm gonna have to come here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check my phone again, make sure I don't miss it here. Oh, it's supposed to be like right here. You know why I might have missed it? Because I was watching for it the whole time. It might be in this little space right here. And no. Summerhill Gardens, not in there. They don't have a big clattering sign standing out here telling us where they're at, but let's see. Alright. Oh, here it is. Umami Poke.
Makes no sense.
I don't know how I missed that. Oh, they're not doing indoor dining. Takeout delivery only? Nah, can't do that. Can't be eating outside. If this was summer, look, I would just take it down to a little park over this way. So we have two options. We can walk back down that way. You know what? Let's just go up to Freshii. We're gonna have to do Freshii to. I mean, look, unless you guys want to do another steak. I mean, that's always an option. But that's not what we came here for, okay? Came here to get away. Came here to cleanse our system. Let's walk up there and see if we can find some healthy food. Healthier food that we can eat. And if we can't, there's a really good schnitzel place up the street this way. So that may be, because yeah, I mean, look, you don't really want to go from eating steak to eating salads right away, right? That's too much of a shock to your system. So here's how I'm going to rationalize this, right? The way I'm looking at it is, I've been eating 5 steaks in a row. I think the best way to do it, wean myself off, I gotta step myself down. So technically speaking, I should really be going from beef down to a lighter meat like chicken, stay on that for a couple of days, and then maybe go down to an even lighter meat like fish, and then go to veggies. Maybe that's what the sign is I'm trying to go from steak all the way down to veggies. That's like trying to go cold turkey after a serious drug addiction. So let's see if I can convince my brain that is an acceptable line of thinking. All right, so if I can get away with that, then I think we're just gonna hit that schnitzel place instead. But at least it's not like the one we did yesterday where we, instead of doing a walk and eat, I basically just got myself down to a restaurant and ate. It came back. There wasn't much walking involved, but today's a beautiful day, so at least we're getting the walk in as well. You get a bit of a good walk in, and then too bad they weren't letting people dine in. Oh, this is Istanbul Doner. I tried this place too. Man, it was really good. Totally forgot this place was here. There's another Turkish place north of like Lawrence, I think it is. Gonna have to try that place next. Oh no. Did the schnitzel place close down too? Oh no. COVID, what have you done? I think this is where the schnitzel place used to be. So this place right here, that's a short-term lease available. Oh man. It's not good. Shadow Abbas cuisine. Oh, what is this? Okay. Let's not get distracted. Let's head over to Freshii. All right. Here's the deal that we're gonna make. We're gonna head over to Freshii. Freshii allows us to dine in. That's what we're gonna do. All right. No more mind tricks. No more mind tricks to try to convince myself that I gotta eat chicken schnitzel. Well, only because the restaurant's closed down. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. If that restaurant was still open, I wouldn't be reconsidering my decision for a second. But it's no longer an option. Then we can afford to be a little bit reasonable here. Wouldn't mind grabbing a coffee here too, somewhere. After we have done our Freshii now. The other option here is that right beside Freshii, there's a Swiss Chalet and a Popeyes. So if we're gonna eat chicken, we've got lots of options. Alright, Freshii. Are we open? I don't. Are they even open? Store hours. Freshii looks like. Oh no, they're closed. Wow, we cannot even find a meal in this town. So this is the type of food that Freshii has, basically. So I don't know if there's just like a Canadian chain, or if there are in other places too. But we got rejected from 2 places. Now what? Definitely not gonna do a Swiss chalet. Forget it. A million places to eat. Let's go over this way. I think the universe is trying to tell me something, right? Maybe the universe is trying to tell me that my little steak binge there, it's not time for it to be over yet. Alright? Try to go vegan. Tried to go vegetarian. Tried to have some fish over at the poke place. Tried to come back and have some vegetarian stuff at Freshii. None of that is working out. Alright. So, if I was a more spiritual man, I would be betting on the fact that there are some mysterious forces out there trying to send me a message. But realistically, it's probably not that at all. Actually, the food over there at Loblaws, they have like a restaurant inside there too. That stuff I've had a bunch of their different things. I used to have lunch there every once in a while when I was in the neighborhood. The burgers were actually really good. Let's go see if I can find something relatively healthy to eat around here. There are a couple of places on the side over here. Usually a string of little restaurants here. Let's go over there. Oh, let's walk this way. Let's walk this way. Sure, because I'm going down the Yonge and Blur. So there's a pub, Shenanigans Pub. I think that place has changed ownership. I don't think it used to be called Shenanigans. Pizza Yolo is Sprout. Does it say Sprout? What kind of something? I think is that Vietnamese cuisine? Sprout. You know what? Vietnamese food is relatively healthy, isn't it? They usually have a lot of like soups and bowls and noodles, things like that. Not all meat. Let's go see if we can try that place. Vietnamese cuisine, that's what it says, yeah. Let's see. Closed. So okay, this is the kind of Vietnamese food. I would have probably ordered just something like a bowl like that. That's not gonna work. Wow. This is not good. Everything is closed. This is like a long weekend, right? So this is New Year's long weekend, by the way. So a lot of these places aren't normally closed like this. Mary B Kitchen. You know what? I'm gonna check these guys out. Let me check out their listing. See if they get any real food, because I'm pretty sure that's just a cafe. And I'm not gonna do that. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Mary B Cafe. Let's go to here. Let's go to that. Mary B Kitchen, sorry. Less busy than usual, it says. Let's get the photos. Oh yeah, no. They look like they have really good food. Oh, really good healthy food. What? Did I discover this place by accident? I've walked by it a couple of times. Oh, this food here looks really, really good. Hoping their kitchen's open. Let's test it out. Ask them if they're serving food. Going indoors. How's it going? You guys are serving food, right? Oh yeah? I don't know. I want to take a look at the menu. Okay. If we can stay indoors?
Yes.
Dine indoors? Okay. Awesome. What is good? I've never, I just need a good healthy meal. What would you recommend?
So the most popular option is to do the B square. So you can do that with a protein. You can do like chicken or salmon or whatever.
You know what? Let's do it.
Yeah?
Let's do it, yeah.
Do you prefer chicken?
Yes. What are the options? Chicken and beef?
You can do chicken, flank steak, salmon, or tofu.
You know what? Let's go with chicken. Flank steaks.
And then for your sides, you can pick any of these ones. These are our salad options, or you can do any of the warm sides.
Okay, you can do a warm side. Let's see, roasted sweet potatoes, turmeric rice, some salad, roasted cauliflower. And it's 2 sides or 1?
You can do 2 sides.
Okay, I'll get the cauliflower. And let's do grilled broccoli, grilled half an avocado.
Yeah, it's really good. It has lemon and sumac on it. It's just like a half, like grilled
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty good. Let's do that.
for sure. Can I get anything else for you today?
No, that's good.
And I just need to see your proof of vaccination and photo ID.
Photo ID and proof of vaccine, yeah. So we have the proof of vaccine right here. Let's pull that up. Look at the downloads. That's the vaccine. And you need to see ID, you said, right? There we go.
Okay, thank you so much. Whenever you're ready, it's $17.93 for you.
Okay, just put on the visa. Oh.
Just take the table number out. We'll bring everything up.
Okay.
Don't get your phone there.
Thank you. And let's see. We'll go sit in a corner over here. We'll sit over here right by ourselves so we can get a good view of the food when it comes out. All right. All right, Mary B Kitchen. So totally discovered it totally by accident here, guys. This is what the place looks like. That's what the place looks like. All right. Went to a couple other places, as you guys saw. I'll put it all in the video. And this is where we basically ended up.
I was sure, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, guys. So it looks like we're gonna have a healthy meal. It does have some chicken. Oh, yeah. That looks so good. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm taking the jacket off. I actually have a coffee. I actually have a coffee and a couple of other things too. Let's take a look and see. So I'm just going to put the microphone over here and over there so you guys can see that. And I think you guys can see it there. Alright, there you go. Get the hang of this camera too. Oh, that was so good. Cauliflower looks like onions. Chicken, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is like a grilled avocado. This is going to be a healthy meal, guys. Make up for all of that steak that we ate. That sauce is really good. The green sauce. It's a little bit tangy. I don't know what it is. It's like a bit of a, it's like a tangy pesto-ish kind of sauce, but not really. Doesn't have any nuts in it. It's good. Very pleasant. I put some cauliflower here. Cauliflower was a really good decision, actually. This is really, really good cauliflower. I forgot to order a drink. There's a line up there now. I'm going to order a drink in a sec. That was really good. Cool. Basically like grilled chicken with some sauce on it. You have cauliflower that is, it's like a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it's not dry, but it's a roasted cauliflower. That's what that is. I think it seems like it's oven roasted, but it has like a cauliflower has like a curry taste to it. And the onions, love onions. So another great meal. I want to try this avocado. Let's see. It's the best way to unravel it here. I'm just going to cut it in the middle. Just cut it like that. Cut it in the middle like that. Let's see if we can just take out slices. Just slice it up. So hopefully this is a good move. Usually when I get avocados, they're out of the skin. This one, oh yeah, it's coming out pretty well. I'll show you guys what this looks like. It's roasted. Seems like this is also oven roasted avocado. Something avocado looks like here. Turn the plate around so you guys can see that. It's like oven roasted avocado looks like, and then they roasted it looks like, and then they grilled it. Because if they had just grilled it, this outside wouldn't be as toasty as it is, and the inside wouldn't be as warm. Because if you just grill it, maybe it would be. I don't know. Maybe they did just grill it, but that's what the avocado looks like. That was really good. That is really, really good. What else is in there? Yeah, it looks like it's just I don't know, lineup is still there. I'd like to get a drink. I'd like to order it, but they have. It was definitely worth the walk. good. Exactly the type of meal I was looking for. I'm glad I ran into a good home cooked meal without any red meat. We're done for the salmon. That's what I was planning on getting in the poke bowl, but I had chicken on my mind at that point. Chicken's actually very well cooked. It's not soft, very moist. I don't know if they boiled this chicken or what. Boiled it, maybe grilled it. It's moist and it's very, very soft. Very, very, very soft. That is spectacular. Great meal. Great meal. Glad I decided to come this way. Because Freshii's food I wouldn't have enjoyed this much. So that a bit of a blessing that they were closed today. But, grab a drink. I'm gonna grab myself a coffee too. Haven't had much of a coffee. What time is it? How late is it right now? Is it too late for a coffee? Absolutely not. That was great. That was great. I'm gonna order a coffee, maybe grab a pastry too. Take this up for them. Take that up for them. Put my mask on. Go up there. Order that. We'll get a coffee. We'll be back. Thank you. I can just grab a fork over there. A brownie and an Americano. Brownie and an Americano looks good. Thank you. Alright, boys and girls. Put the camera back. The microphone up. See this brownie, I'll take a picture of it, but it had some interesting the reason why I picked it up is because it had some very interesting ingredients in there. Let's take a look at what it's made out of, right? It's called the Triple Chocolate Sweet Potato Fudge Brownie. Put the picture up. Sweet potato, almond flour, almond butter, cocoa, brown sugar. It was just sweet potato that threw me off. That's what it was. Sweet potato. Sugar, dark chocolate chips, baking powder, extra virgin olive oil, tapioca flour, apple cider vinegar, salt, vanilla, and coconuts. That is made in a shared kitchen. There is a risk of cross-contamination, which is usually the message they put in if you have like peanut allergies or something like that. But I'll put up the picture so you guys can see it. But that's what that fudge brownie looks like at Mary B Kitchen. I'm gonna test it out here. See what it looks super interesting. Ooh. Let's just test it out. Eat this brownie and yeah, that's very different. It's not just all. Most brownies, when you bite into them, it just overpowers you with sugar. Definitely taste the carrots. Did they say there's carrots in here? I can taste carrots. Sweet potato, that's what that is? There's no carrots. I thought I tasted carrots in here, but that's gotta be the sweet potato then, because no brownie I've ever had has had that taste. Pretty good. It is pretty good, guys. Let's take a look at that. And the chocolate chips are so crunchy. Very, very crunchy. No, that was rich. I don't think I can eat all that. Get my third bite in. Who's kidding? Who are we kidding here? I definitely can eat all of it, and I probably will. So let's take a look at that. Those cocoa beans, is that why they're so crunchy? But it tastes like chocolate. I think those are roasted cocoa beans. That's why they're so crunchy. I thought that was the chocolate chips. No, it's chocolate. How did they get that chocolate to be so crunchy? This is really, really rich brownie. These little chocolate chunks that you see right there, all throughout. All throughout. Yeah, so the neighborhood we're in is like Yonge and St. Clair. What is it actually called? I don't know what the name of this neighborhood is. We were eating the steak that was in Cabbagetown. Yonge and St. Clair, I think, has a name. Let's see, what do they call it? Let's do a quick look up here. And is it? It's not Moore Park. Moore Park's beside it. I think, is this Deer Park? No, it's not Deer Park either. Oh, get that little sign out of here so I can see what you guys call this neighborhood. Alright, so we got Rosedale to the east of where I'm at. We got Rosedale, which is really probably one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the city. Slightly east here. Then we got Moore Park. Moore Park, which is, again, it's a very, it's not a poor neighborhood, let's just put it that way. Okay. I'll show you guys all this stuff on the map, see if we can pull it up on the map. But we have, so we're at, but I don't know what the name of the actual neighborhood. Yeah, I think it is called Deer Park. D-E-E-R Park. There it is, yeah. So the neighborhood I'm in right now is called Deer Park. And that is what encompasses basically the Yonge and Davisville, not Yonge and Davisville, Yonge and St. Clair area. That's not good. That's where we're at right now. Let's see if we can finish off this brownie. The Americano. Really warming me up on a cold day like this. I think I'm gonna finish it. I don't want to leave any behind. This girl behind me, it's like the third time I've heard her say, "I've never cheated." This is like, I don't know what that conversation's all about. That's what I keep on hearing. It's like the second or third time I've heard her say it. So I'm gonna have to blur their faces out now that I've talked about them, because I don't want you guys to know who they are. They're already sitting here. It's very rich, and it's starting to get very, very sweet too. By rich, I mean it's very thick. Very, very chocolatey. But I've eaten a lot of those chocolate chips too. That's where most of the sweetness is coming from. It's from those chocolate chips. great. That was great. All right. So I think we're good. I think what we should do now is probably head back. We'll cut the walk a little bit short. Head back home to our own neighborhood. But let's see. What's the next neighborhood we want to do? We don't want to do the Yonge and St area. There's a lot of good places to eat around there. A lot to see too, so it'd probably be a nice walk to do. So maybe we'll do that sometime this week. And another really good area, I would say, is if you do Yonge and St and then you take Bloor all the way across the Spadina, you run into a neighborhood called the Annex. And that place is much more of like a student, it's got a huge student vibe to it because it's right on the northwest corner of the University of Toronto. So maybe we'll do that neighborhood. There's still a lot of neighborhoods here in Toronto to see. I mean, I've been to them all a million times with it. I'll start videotaping them and putting them up for you guys to see too. Because it seems to me like what the pandemic here has done, it's basically just shut down a lot of restaurants, and a lot of the restaurants that I like to go to. A couple of the other ones I checked said they were permanently closed too, which is kind of sad to see. But what I think is going to happen is, in place of a lot of these stores, there's probably going to be a lot of new restaurants that pop up. So I'm kind of a little bit excited for that because I always liked the novelty of going to a new place, and not that there's any chance of me running out, but seeing new places pop up all the time is a little bit exciting for me. So hopefully very soon we'll start to see a lot of that happen. I've already seen like a lot of the restaurants that are shut down. Seems like new restaurants have taken over their place. Like that Turkish restaurant we just walked past. There used to be another restaurant there a long time ago. And that Turkish restaurant is relatively new, so they got shut down and this Turkish place opened up. Seems like maybe there's demand for Turkish food in this neighborhood. I don't know. Turkish food's delicious though. So we'll finish this coffee, we'll wrap it up, and I'll find another good place for us to a good neighborhood for us to walk around in. I'm thinking the Danforth is a really good place too, because I have a really good souvlaki place there. I'll forewarn you guys, it's not like a fancy place or anything like that, but man, they make some of the best sandwiches that you have ever had. The Euro on a pita with fries. A bunch of old Greek guys working there. The same guy that's been there. I mean, I've been going there for like 20 years now. I'm going there for close to 20 years. And the same one guy that works there, see if I can show him to you guys, but same one guy has been working at this place for 20 years and he looks exactly the same. Has not changed a bit. I don't know what happened to the camera there. It just started beeping when I started talking about my long johns, so let's maybe not talk about that. It started beeping and it shut off. So yeah, but I'm basically wearing 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of socks, and then I'm basically wearing 3 shirts and 2 jackets. So that's what it takes to keep warm in a weather like this. Wearing 3 shirts, 2 jackets, and so the key here is to layer. The only part of me that gets cold is just my fingertips, because I don't have the gloves. I'm not wearing my thick skiing gloves. I'm wearing my cycling gloves here. And part of the reason, make sure this is still connected. It's still connected, yeah. So part of the reason why I'm wearing my cycling gloves is because they have way better grip. Trying to work with anything with those ski gloves is nearly impossible. The only thing you can do with those ski gloves is hang on to ski poles. Right. So yeah, so we just crossed St. Clair and we're on what's called Avenue Road. Avenue Road is like another major throughway to get from the highway to downtown. So right now we're walking north, but it's another major street that a lot of people take off of the highway, off of the 401 highway, which is the main highway that cuts through Toronto. It's the one that they take to get into the city if they're not taking the if they haven't taken the highway that's south of here. So I won't bore you guys with the geography lesson of Toronto here, but this is one of the other major streets in this Avenue Road. I think once you cross Bloor Street, I think turns into Queen's Park. And once you turns into Queen's Park Road. And once you go even farther south, so this street basically this avenue has 3 different names. Here it's called Avenue Road. Once you get down to U of T, it turns into Queen's Park. Once you get south of U of T on the same street, it turns into University Avenue. And University Avenue is probably the widest avenue that we have here in Toronto. We'll do a walk of it too, and we'll compare it to the avenue, the 9 Nuevo de Julio in Buenos Aires. I don't think Toronto's University Avenue might be like a quarter of the width of that street, because I think that the one in Buenos Aires is probably the widest avenue in the world. I heard that somewhere. Now, am I going to research it? That one I actually might. Okay. You can see along here, when you walk along here, you might think to yourself, okay, well, this seems like it's the same density as Buenos Aires, right? Number one, you can see how much space there is in between the buildings, right? So every apartment building that you see here, they're all separated, right? They're not all joined together. It's not crunched together. So essentially, you could essentially double the density of the apartment buildings just on the street by scrunching all the apartment buildings together. That's what Buenos Aires has. Second thing you'll notice is if you look down this street, you'll notice that as soon as you get past the front of the street, here and you go into the neighborhoods, it's all single family houses. I'll walk through one of them right now to show you guys what I mean. But these apartment blocks and condominiums are really just on the front side. They're along Avenue Road here. And as soon as you get farther in, past the surface of the street here, you're gonna see a lot of single family houses. And that's essentially what this Deer Park neighborhood, even though it looks like it's a very busy place on the main streets, it looks busy, but once you go in a little bit, all single family houses. And that's what makes Toronto, in my mind, and again, I'm not an expert here, makes Toronto a lot less dense than Buenos Aires. And again, the reason why density is important is that you have a lot more life, right? You have a lot more life when there's a lot more density, because there's a lot more services. So Buenos Aires, again, when you have lines of apartments like on a major street like this, instead of it all being lawns in front here, you'd basically just have things way closer to the street, have shops all along them to provide services for the big numbers of people that live here. This up here is called the Upper Canada College. It's actually not a college, it's more of a high school, private high school for, let's just say, the folks who have more money than the rest. And so this is where the rich people send their children for high school. If you walk over that way, you'll probably have the wealthiest neighborhood in Canada, or the second or third maybe wealthiest neighborhood in not just Toronto, but probably all of Canada, I'd imagine. So this area here is a very well-to-do area. All of it is a very well-to-do area. Not all of Toronto is like this, obviously, so you can't just watch one video and just assume that Toronto is all full of wealthy people, because it certainly is not. But if you look at the house prices in Toronto, you might think everybody's wealthy, and on paper a lot of people who own houses in Toronto really are pretty wealthy, because I don't think you can find a house under $1 million in this city, which to me sounds completely ridiculous. Now, there's some people who benefit from that, which is fine, which is good, but what I hear a lot of people saying is that I hear a lot of people comparing Toronto, trying to rationalize the fact that Toronto is, the same as New York. They say, well, look at New York, right? If you even bring up the subject of house prices with anybody, and look, like I said, as a house owner, house owners benefit, right? And so I don't want to, it's against my own best interest to say a lot of these things, but that it's true to say that Toronto is not the same as New York, right? And so when you tell a lot of people, hey, when you look at the house prices in Toronto and you say, guys, this is not normal, this looks absolutely ridiculous, there's absolutely no way a small shack in Toronto is worth paying $1 million for, minimum, right? Paying $1 million for. A lot of people try to make the comparison. They try to rationalize it in their minds to say, well, look at New York, right? How much is a townhouse in a certain part of Manhattan worth? I'm like, and I don't see the comparison. Anybody who's been to New York would not ever make that kind of a statement. If somebody's been to New York and they've been to Toronto, they would have better sense to make that kind of a comparison, because Toronto is like a village. It's like a tiny village compared to New York. Not just in terms of size and scale, but in terms of its economic activity and in terms of, I would say, people's desire to want to be there, right? New York is a global city. As much as I love living here in Toronto, Toronto is not, right? So it seems to me that a lot of the house prices and stuff like here that are here are now, you're seeing house prices in Toronto that are comparable to what they are in New York. That to me, just on its face, makes absolutely no sense. If you look at the two cities and you look at what they're all about, makes absolutely no sense. But I'm no expert in the subject. I just have my let's just say I have my opinions. But any rational person who's been to both cities, just on its face, like, we're not looking at numbers, we're not doing any kind of deep detailed analysis on this. We're just saying a house here in Toronto should not be worth the same as a house in New York, because those two cities are in two completely different leagues. And so that's all I'm saying. I don't want to offend anybody. Don't get me wrong. If you've I don't want to stop talking about the subject altogether, because people get a little bit touchy about it. But it is what it is, I guess. Now, having said all that, I love living in here. I wouldn't be living in the city I wouldn't be living in a city if I didn't absolutely love being here. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm knocking the city at all. I'm just trying to. I just have a hard time tricking my brain into believing stuff that's not true. And as much as I joke about it, with restaurants and stuff like that, reality-wise, you just have to kind of acknowledge things for what they are. And so you see exactly what I was talking about, right? So walked up Avenue Road up there, and as soon as I cut in, see it's basically all single-family homes right all along here. And so most of Toronto's density is basically like this, where you don't have it. And again, that's one of the major differences that I noticed in Buenos Aires. I mean, outside of that one slum that I walked through, I don't want to call it a slum, but neighborhood, economically depressed neighborhood I walked through, that's the only place that had townhouses. I don't even know if I saw any single family detached houses like this, but when you talk about density, that's the difference between these two. Planning on taking a trip to Chicago sometime soon, and doing a lot of walking around there, because in terms of size, when we're talking about size and scale of cities, Toronto is very comparable to Chicago. So if I hear somebody make the comparison between Toronto and Chicago, I say that sounds reasonable, because they're actually very, very similar in size and in scale. Economically, I think they're at about the same level in terms of they're both considered to be major economic centers in North America, outside of right after New York, probably. So walk this way here. Yeah, so when you're talking economically in terms of, bank, like for example in Canada, Toronto is like the center of banking and financial services, right? Banking, investments, insurance, those types of services. When we take a walk down University Avenue, I like to call University Avenue Insurance Alley, because it's basically all insurance companies up when you walk up University Avenue. But in terms of size and scale, Chicago and Toronto are basically on par. Trying to compare Chicago to New York, I mean, there's no comparison, right? It's the same as trying to compare Toronto to New York. There's no comparisons. New York's on a completely different scale. Compare New York to Tokyo, right? If you look at a Tokyo, look at a New York, you look at let's say Paris, you look at a London, Hong Kong. If you look at those types of cities, they're all basically in the same league in my mind, in terms of the size and the density and cities like Toronto are probably in the next league underneath that, right? You'd have like a Chicago, Toronto, Los Angeles, probably still a very, very large city, big league city. And the way, I mean, again, I'm just rambling here, but when I talk about league, I don't have any scientific definition, but I just think of population and economy. Economic activity is probably two of the metrics that come to mind when I'm thinking about it. And in Canada, if you look at the top, probably 3 or 4 cities, you'd have Montreal, have Toronto, have Vancouver, maybe Calgary. Off the top of my head are probably the 4 biggest cities in terms of size, population, and economic activity. Those are probably the big 4, out of which I think Toronto's the biggest, and then second would be Montreal. Calgary and Vancouver I'm not so sure about. which one's bigger, because Calgary has the oil industry out there, and they're, in terms of economic activity, I think they're pretty high up on the list. But again, it's Canada, right? It's not the U.S. The U.S. is a is a behemoth of a country when it comes to economic activity, so it's hard to make those comparisons. But I would love to go to Chicago, just see what Chicago is all about, and see if on the ground, if Chicago and Toronto are comparable, right? Are they similar in many ways? I'd like to feel the city out a little bit, like I did with Buenos Aires, so maybe we'll do Chicago sometime soon too. But where are we right now? I've just been walking around randomly here. So you see, okay, single family houses, and then apartment blocks, right? Apartment blocks, but again, the apartments are all separated out, not joined together. So, oh yeah, I think I know where I am. Do a little bit more walking, and then we'll probably call it a day. There's the sun over there. The sun looks like it's about to call it quits. It is quitting time. Quitting time. Where is the sun working on a regular work schedule? It's trying to do a 9 to 5 here, which is not acceptable. Not enough sun. Yeah, I know where I am. I think we're gonna hang a right here. Got a park over there. That's where we'll end our trip at the park. Another city I'd love to visit is Istanbul, Turkey. I think it's one of the most visited countries, or one of the most visited cities in the world. Seems like a really interesting place to be. Seems like a city that has a lot going on. Again, that's like a global city, right? I mean, what has it got? Like, it's got way over 10 million people in that city, I think, right? And that's very different scale. Toronto, I think, has maybe 2.5 million people in its city proper. Probably much higher if you count all of the suburbs. It's like 2.5 to 3 million people. It's not a huge city. You look at New York, it's got way more than. Even if you look at Buenos Aires, it's got way more than that. Mexico City is gigantic. It's like Mexico City's like 30 million people or something like that. I'll have to look up the numbers, but you compare that to a city that's the size of Toronto. Okay, that's like 10x. Tokyo for sure is 30 million, right? You try to compare Toronto to Tokyo is literally 30 times the size of Toronto in terms of its population, right? And New York is going to be somewhere in between those two. So New York is going to be probably in the 15 million people range. That's why the comparisons are difficult to make. You look at property prices in Tokyo, impossible. I've seen some of the types of places where people live, like they live in tiny little shoe boxes basically because of property prices over there. Toronto's seeing some of that happening with the condo developments. You're getting very like micro condos and stuff like that, but it is, even those micro condos in the middle of Tokyo would seem like a luxury space. If you get like a 500 square foot condo, most people in Toronto would consider that to be way too small, but put that down in the middle of Tokyo, people think, why, what, you're raising a family of 10 in this place? Why such a huge place? Right, so all right, so this is the park, and this is park, what is this park called? Got the name. Yeah, so this is a park, and this is basically, if you look at Yonge and St. Clair, Yonge and St. Clair is down that way, where we came from, where we had that great meal at Mary B Kitchen, and this little park here is, I don't know where, I think that goes out to, Avenue Road over that way, and it comes out over at, I think this is Davisville. And I think this is where we're gonna call it quits, guys. Sun is calling it quits. I'm also calling it quits. See you guys on the next one.